RibCore by Trusscore is a high-strength PVC corrugated panel that is long-lasting, cost-effective, and easy to install and maintain. In this video, we'll walk you through the tools and materials you'll need, along with every step of the installation process to include RibCore in your Trusscore project. Tools and materials. The tools and materials you will need are tin snips, drill, table saw or handheld power saw, tape measure, level, chalk line, silicone and caulking gun, ladder and/or scaffolding, safety glasses, RibCore panels, and applicable trims. Installation basics. Before we dive into the installation steps, let's review some tips that apply for every RibCore project. Fastening. RibCore is designed to be installed with corrosion-resistant screws, not nails or staples. Use galvanized, stainless steel, or aluminum screws. They should have a minimum head diameter of 3/8 of an inch. Consult our RibCore installation guidelines for our recommended fasteners. RibCore panels will experience expansion and contraction with fluctuations in temperature. To allow for this movement, holes must be pre-drilled before the panel is fastened. The diameter of these holes must be 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch larger than the diameter of the shaft of the screw, but smaller in diameter than the head of the screw. Do not over-tighten the fasteners. Allow a minimum of 1/16 of an inch, about the thickness of a dime, between the back of the fastener head and the panel. Screws should be fastened at the lowest portion of the profile, where it touches the wood studs. Fastening at the top of the profile will compact or distort the panel and may cause damage if over-tightened. The fasteners should penetrate a minimum of 1 inch into a solid backing. They should be applied at roughly 1 foot intervals across the width of the panels for ceilings, and on every stud location 16 to 24 inches apart for walls. They should also be at least 4 inches from the end of the panel. Cutting. When cutting a single RibCore panel, tin snips are recommended for best results. When cutting multiple panels, up to 5 at a time, a handheld circular saw with the blade installed in the reverse direction is recommended. Panels should be supported or clamped near the cut location to avoid vibration and movement. If cutouts are required for things like electrical boxes, lights, or taps, it is recommended to use a jigsaw, oscillating saw, or hole saw to make the cut. Watch our short videos on YouTube called Making a Square Cutout and Making a Round Cutout in Trusscore Panels for details. Overlapping panels. RibCore panels need to be overlapped anywhere 2 panels meet. All overlaps should be sealed with silicone. When overlapping on the side, panels should be overlapped by 1 corrugation or rib. When overlapping on the ends, the panels should be overlapped by 4 inches at the end of a panel. It is important to start at the bottom of the wall and work upwards. This will ensure that any water flows properly down the wall and will not get behind the panels. If you are fastening panels where they overlap, make sure you pre-drill through both panels before installing the screw. If both panels are not pre-drilled, you may have issues with panel expansion and contraction. Install order. If RibCore is being installed on both the ceiling and walls of a project, it is recommended to install on the ceiling first. This will help ensure adequate spacing is provided to accommodate all trims and panel thickness. Ceiling installation. Begin by installing the 3/4 inch J trim if only installing on the ceiling, or 3/4 inch F trim if you will be adding panels to the wall as well. If your panels are larger than the space, cut them to length before installing. Lift your first panel into its installation position and mark the location of all fasteners using a chalk line. This step may require 2 people. Then take it down for drilling. Ensure that you leave a 1/4 inch gap between RibCore panels and any walls when installing to allow for expansion and contraction. Measure along your marked lines as required to place fasteners and pre-drill the holes. Lift the panel into position and ensure it is parallel to the outside wall before fastening. To do this, measure the distance from the wall to the edge of your panels at both the top and bottom of the panel. If the measurements are uneven, you will need to correct the positioning of your panel. When starting your next panel, ensure that you are overlapping properly. 1 corrugation at the side, and 4 inches at the top or bottom as mentioned previously in the overlapping panels section. You may need to cut your last panels for them to fit properly into your ceiling. Follow the cutting instructions mentioned previously. Wall installation. Installing RibCore on walls is the same as installing on the ceiling with just a few additional points. It is important to start at the bottom of the wall and work upwards. This will ensure that any water flows properly down the wall and will not get behind the panels. Begin by installing 3/4 inch J trim along the bottom of the wall. F trim or double 3/4 inch J trims in any corners, and finally, 3/4 inch J trim along the top of your wall and around any openings like doors or windows. If you are installing RibCore in a high moisture environment, such as a car wash, the following guidelines must be met. Silicone must be applied at all locations where panels are overlapped. In addition, silicone must be applied prior to fasteners to ensure moisture does not get in through the enlarged fastener holes. If you are using J trim at the bottom of your wall, you must drill drainage holes in the bottom of the J trim. The rest of the installation steps are the same as the ceiling installation. Measure and cut panels to size. Mark the location of fasteners and pre-drill holes. Ensure the first panel is parallel to the outside wall. Ensure correct overlapping of panels. 1 corrugation at the side. 4 inches at the top or bottom. Thanks for watching this video on how to install RibCore by Trusscore. For more information on RibCore, visit trusscore.com/RibCore.